Hey, Arcturus here. Today, we're looking at the Legions Astartes battle group for Warhammer Horus Heresy. This is a bunch of 30k Mark III Marines, a Proteus Land Raider, and the Daredo Dreadnaught. I believe it comes with two different gun options, and then that you get the Proteus, which I think has a couple different gun options as well, and then I believe you also get an upgrade sprue for the Mark IIIs. But let's get it open and find out. All right, so we get some instructions for these. Proteus, the Daredo Dreadnaught, auto cannons it looks like, and then also some Hellfire Plasma Cannonade. And then the missile launchers and some heavy bolters, which I think you can replace the heavy bolters with heavy flamers, yes. So, get a couple different options for your Daredo Dreadnaught, which comes in the Anvilus configuration. I wonder if there's a different configuration that comes with some alternative weapons. But we also have here the upgrade sprues for the Legion special weapons. So you get rotor cannons, which looks like a minigun, some Volkite calivers, a Volkite charger, meltaguns, plasma guns, and flamers. And those, I believe, are designed to also be attached to the previous versions of armor. So like the Mark IVs or Mark Vs, I think. And then we get the Proteus, hull-mounted weapons. And you get some alternative pintle mounts for the weapons. So again, the Volkite charger, flamer, meltagun, plasma gun, bolters. And those, it looks like, can be swapped out, or you can use a Havoc missile launcher. A couple different options, and then a multi-melta or a hatch gunner, closed hatch. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see, what else do we get? It looks like you just get last guns for the side mounts. Yeah, and then your front mount, you can get twin-linked last, heavy flamer, or heavy bolters. I think that's pretty much everything. Looks like those are removable without gluing, so they are that latch, turn-in latch mode. So it looks like if you had alternative weapons, you could use them instead. Oh, and then you get some actual physical symbols. That's very cool. Excellent. So let's take a look at the actual sprue. 30 bases. Slide this out of the way. Yeah, this is good stuff. All right, so here we have one of the sprue for the Proteus. Very large pieces of plastic, very solid looking. And then additionally for the treads, some of the framing for those, some additional Imperial or Trader symbols. Eye of Horus there for the Sons of Horus, and then probably the Imperial fists there, and it's got, of course, some more detail on the back sides, but it's nice and flush on the front. And it does look like there are extras, so you might not have to use all of them. Then we have treads and some engine casing there, and some more parts for the core of the Land Raider. Then we have the sponsons. Looks like sponson mounts for the last guns, I think. Last cannons, I should say, for the last cannons or auto cannons. I'm not entirely sure. And then we have the extra bits for the gunners, the pintle mounts, hatch covers, all that sort of stuff. It looks like you've got a part of a flamer there, maybe, or one of the Volkite chargers. Very interesting. And we'll move on to the Daredo, as I think that's got smaller sprues. So here we have some parts of the Daredo Dreadnaught. Got two different guns for it. So you have the auto cannons or the plasma cannonades, I believe. And those look fairly solid. Looks like it should have the ball joint, and from just flipping through the instructions earlier, it does look like it'd be fairly easy to magnetize, though I haven't, of course, haven't built it yet, so that may not be the case. And here we have some armor plating, core of the Dreadnought, the feet, be interesting. And then the chest gun for the flamers there, or probably the bolters. Ah, yes, either the other half of the flamethrowers or the bolters. Probably bolters on that one. Very interesting. And I suspect the ease of magnetization for the Daredo depends on how much of it you want to magnetize. That could very well play into it. And then here we have some of the Mark III sprues. I just want to make sure I'm not going to show you guys all the same sprue. There should be lots of duplicates, as you get 30 of these. And so basically it looks like it's 5 to a sprue, and you get 6 of the sprues, which would make sense. You get plenty of helmets, backpacks, shoulder pads. Very nice. No printed shoulder pads on this. That's interesting, but you do get the Mark III helmets with the helmet spike. Very interesting. Reminds me very much of Death Guard specifically, and I think that is actually supposed to be the case in the Heresy. I just thought these models look really cool, I think, so that's why I wound up picking them up. More so than anything else, I have to say. And then here we have one of the extras sprues. You get some bayonet blades, lots of bayonet blades, a plasma Volkite pistol, maybe a plasma pistol. You can give one of them like a power claw or the standard, some different helmet options. It's very interesting, like a Vox or comms sort of thing, and then some extra like grenades or pouches, extra pistol pouches, that's what those are, and then some grenades there. Very interesting. And you do get 3 of those sprue, and they're all identical, which makes sense. Again, with the 30 Mark IIIs, you would need several of those, and it looks like there's one for every 10 Marines, so you can make some variety between them. And then here we have the special weapons. So the rotor cannons have some ammo feed covers that need to be attached, but everything else looks like it's assembled as is. It does all have hands already on it, so there's no need to pose them that way. You'll just have to line up the arms. And you get 5 of each, and there's only one of these sprue in the box, which is a little disappointing because I think normally you get 10 in a box. But it does come with one, so it's not... I think it would be better if it came with 2 sprue, so you got the equivalent of 1 box. But I still think it's pretty good value if you're interested in the models. Of course, if you're not interested in the models, then it's probably terrible value. But I think overall it's a good box, I think, if you're interested. Or play Horus Heresy or want to just collect the models. You get 30 Mark IIIs, which is pretty nice. And you also get a tank and a Dreadnought, which I think is pretty cool. I think you can use some of them still as relic options, but that might have been removed for regular Space Marines. I remember seeing something on it, but as I don't normally play Space Marines in 40k, I didn't pay too much attention to it. But it may be the case that you can't actually bring the Proteus or the Daredo into a 40k game anymore as the Imperium. I think you still can as Chaos unless they also removed it for them as well, if they removed it at all. Although, honestly, with Land Raider Proteus, unless you're playing in tournaments, if you're playing friendly games, I don't think most people would really have a problem if you said, oh, it's just a Land Raider. Just is a little different chassis as opposed to anything else. But that's all I've got for today. I'll catch you next time.